phone, I hope, and Janie says that we don't have to maybe stop right at 12, but I also hate to be between people and their food, so we'll keep going as long as you will.
Luckily for them, I don't have a lot to say. So, but anyway, in my county, Alameda County, things were implemented a little later than we thought. They did not automatically happen on November 1st. It actually wasn't almost until the end of November, almost early December, that a lot of the protocols for new workers came on board and that they were fingerprinted, and those protocols were brought to the advisory board so that we could kind of follow what was going on with the county and what was going on with the state. And I don't know how, like they said, a lot of advisory boards work differently, and so the information you're getting from your PA staff and from different organizations like CICA and stuff can help you as an advisory board get the information you need to know what's going on with the fraud initiatives. And each county has different ways of implementing those services. And like I said, in my county, it hasn't always been an easy route. But they've got it set up now where our workers go downstairs, and those who need to watch a video do, and those who don't, they fill out their paperwork. They have their fingerprinting done, and they pay their fee, and then they are out. And it's a very simple process, and I think how that happened was our county director had contacted the people doing the fingerprinting, got a rate that was worked out, which is probably a lower rate than a lot of counties, but it's working. And like they said, we don't necessarily like the idea of having our workers having to go through this process, but we're working with them. And on my advisory board, there are concerns about workers being ineligible and having had worked during this period of time, where if they're a new worker and they don't pass that fraud initiative, that they're not going to get paid, and you as a consumer, the state hasn't said whether you are responsible for it or they're going to pay that back payment. And that has been a concern, and we're still not sure at this point whether those workers will get paid. So, just keep informed is my suggestion. And, if you have concerns, bring them to your director of IHSS, and keep them informed of your concerns as an advisory board, because that's your role. You need to keep that updated and, come up to Sacramento, give your statements and tell them what you're thinking on what's going on with this fraud. If this is implemented in a way that you're not comfortable with, you're not comfortable with them coming and visiting your home in that way, let them know. And that's my suggestion. Thank
you. One of the ongoing issues, there are many still ongoing issues we're fighting with the Department of Social Services about. One of them is the only letter that consumers have gotten about this anti-fraud stuff, which has information that wasn't correct when it was sent out and is more incorrect. And that letter that went out in the beginning of October said that there would be no retroactive payment for workers. And that got modified so that if a worker starts working and passes all the background stuff, the state will make retroactive payment. They will not make retroactive payment if a worker flunks the criminal background check. And I think it's true that that kind of policy has always been the case. That is, if a consumer hired somebody who then was found ineligible to work for one of the few existing reasons that people would not be able to work, I don't think there was retro payment for a worker who was ineligible before. There's also misinformation in the video. There's misinformation about the felony stuff. There's misinformation about what the right of a consumer to direct their services. And don't necessarily have to get into that now, but if somebody's interested, ask me about it. And these are issues we're still battling about, and as you know, some of this stuff is still in court. The degree to which counties are, I see your sign, but I don't know what it says because my glasses are too old to see that. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, what? Okay. I think that I can't see so well, so I think it said 10 minutes. Counties are at different places in implementing the provider enrollment. Some counties, CAPA did a survey just this last week, and some counties have enrolled absolutely no new providers since November 1st. Some of them have enrolled a very, very few providers, and some of them, I think mostly those who were already doing criminal background checks, have had less of a problem and are able to enroll new providers. And the counties, half of the counties asked the state to not start all of this until everything was ready, and the administration declined to do that. And we were with CWDA, lots of us advocates saying, don't start this. It harms consumers when you don't have the ability to get a provider. It amounts to the same thing as saying you're ineligible for services. Services are an empty promise if you can't enroll a provider. So now we have time for a few questions, and we need to use the microphone. Are you willing to deliver it to people?
Yes, I'll bring the microphone around to who it is.
Okay.
You point out who I should go to.
Why don't you start with the gentleman who's next to you?
I noticed the $100 million figure that they proposed as the cost. I'm assuming that's not including the cost that providers are going to have to pay for fingerprints and that kind of stuff. And I'm wondering what that cost is. I think it's going to have an effect on other programs. Many providers are living hand to mouth, low wages, not many hours, and the effect that it might have on other programs. And I just also wanted to make a comment. It seems very interesting that not only is the fraud issue and how big that issue is questionable for sure. And the fact that they want to eliminate hours for people that are ranked below 4. Are people planning to keep tabs so that the governor isn't saying, oh, look at all the money that we've saved, and it's really because they're wiping out service as opposed to saving in fraud?
I'm jumping in because I have a microphone. When we talk about costs, or when Karen talks about costs, we're talking about costs to the state. We're not talking about human costs, costs to consumers, or costs to workers. So thank you for bringing up that point. And I agree with you. There are huge costs to workers and consumers. There are consumers who are telling us they are having to front the money for the fingerprinting. And what if the first 4 people don't pass? So it's a huge issue which defies understanding of the people who are involved, who don't have the ability to do that. The second thing about the budget cuts, you're going to have a session after lunch about the budget cuts, but we're all on it, and my organization